You know, through the years, Joe and I have been fortunate enough to be involved with a number of nonprofits, and I know that they're important to Joe, they're important to me. We know that they are important to the business community that we speak to here on this show. So we like to feature some of these nonprofits from time to time. And I am happy this morning to be doing just that. Nicole McLaughlin is the executive director of the Plummer Youth Promise. It's a nonprofit based up in Salem, Massachusetts. And Nicole, it's great to have you this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, let's get started by talking a little bit about the background on Plummer, because I think a lot of people don't know that this is a nonprofit that has existed since the 1800s.
That's right. We've been around for a long time. We were founded in the mid-1800s through a bequest by a woman named Caroline Plummer, therefore the name Plummer Youth Promise. And she wanted to start a reform school. At that time, that was really visionary thinking in the mid-1800s. Of course, we're not a reform school anymore. Things have evolved over time. And today we serve young people experiencing the foster care system.
Yeah, so let's talk about the mission of this organization. It really has evolved and changed from back in 1855 when Caroline started it.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, where we are today is we really want to make sure that no young person enters the foster care system, stays there, and then ages out without a family that they can count on. Right? Because at the end of the day, we all know that we need family throughout our lives. And foster care is by definition, a temporary solution. All kids need a permanent family. So that is our vision, that every young person have a family unconditionally committed to nurture, protect, and guide them to successful adulthood.
And Nicole, sometimes that family is actually their family, right? You guys work really hard to bring families back together.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, even in a circumstance where a young person might not be able to return to their family, we always want a connection back with that family, because it's that attachment, that early attachment, is very important to protect and nurture, and young people need to know their families. But yes, ideally, a young person would be with their family of origin or with extended family, with kin. In the event that they're not able to be, then we want to make sure there's a relationship existing there, in whatever manner that can look like.
Sure.
So a lot of our work is actually done to help, particularly around teenagers who have been in the foster care system for a long time, looking back at some of those relationships and trying to heal them and strengthen them so that they exist, regardless of where a young person might live in the future.
But if, in fact, a family can't be brought back together for a living situation, then you guys absolutely are helping with that foster care system, making sure these kids have places to go and homes to live in.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and we run a number of different programs, right? So our flagship program is right here where Caroline Plummer, where it was established in the mid-1800s, and that's a group residence in Salem. And then we also work with foster families throughout mostly Essex and Middlesex County. And we have young people living out in studio and one-bedroom apartments, also mostly Essex and Middlesex County. They're between the ages of 18 and 22. In our foster families, it can be birth to age 22. And then in our group residence, it's ages 13 to 22, so teens and young adults.
Absolutely. Now, I know you serve about 300 children and young adults, especially in the Essex and Suffolk County areas. But how many do you have living in? And tell me a little bit about that residence home, because it's brand new.
Right. Well, so in the actual residence, right now we have 18 young people at a time. And we're actually building a new building, which will be open next month, actually. So we operate our group residence in the same building that was built in the mid-1800s. It is, dilapidated. There's no privacy in this building. It's really, there's no climate control in this building. So we really needed a new building. We've built a new building, and we'll be moving into it next month, and that will accommodate 22 young people at any given time.
Mm-hmm. The foster care system in this state I know it feels like it's constantly, working to try to catch up. Talk to us a little bit, because you work so intimately with it, about the state of the foster care system in Massachusetts.
Well, I think foster care, child welfare is it's such an important function in our society, right? To make sure that kids are safe, ideally safe within their families, right? And in Massachusetts, we put a great effort into making sure that kids can be safe within their families. And then moving toward, and Massachusetts has really prioritized this in recent years, making sure that if a young person does need to be removed from their family for some reason, that the first stop, the first place you look is kin, right? Because being with extended family, people you know, people who are part of your culture, once again, is always going to be the best thing for kids. And I think, Massachusetts is making great strides in working in that direction.
But if that's not the place they can go, then the Plummer Youth Promise is there.
That's right. So that's exactly right. So that, there would be first a search for kin or extended family placement. And if not, then the Department of Children and Families would look to nonprofit providers like Plummer Youth Promise, right? And decide, well, this young person really needs group care versus this young person would really be best served within a foster family.
Sure.
Right? And so then they would reach out to us and say, do you have availability in your group care?
Sure.
Or do any of your foster families have the ability to take in somebody right now?
Nicole McLaughlin is our guest. She's the executive director of the Plummer Youth Promise. One final question from me, Nicole, and that's, what's your biggest wish right now for the agency?
Oh, well, can I have two?
Sure, you can have two.
One is we really could use more foster parents, right? We do need more foster parents who are willing to welcome young people in and really center the needs of that young person and the family relationships and work with us. So we need more foster parents. And we have just built this building. And we will then renovate the old building that we're in, and we are still fundraising for that, right? Construction these days is not inexpensive, particularly in this environment, and I think we've built a terrific new building that contributes to our mission, but we could really use some financial support.
All right. Always in need of financial support. Certainly understand that. Nicole, thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the New England Business Report. I'm so glad that you could join me on this Sunday.